things happen in the executive office, and people get angry, and whoever party that is who they take it out on. And in Congress, Congress is a mess. Can't sugarcoat it.
Right.
And I think people really take that into heart and use that to inform them in their local politics. But local politics is a completely different ball game, right? And of course, there is still issues in the Democratic Party, even locally. And I really think the community needs to think about how can we better engage the party, because overall, the Democratic Party has the most alignment with our values, right? Immigration justice, social justice in terms of like criminal reform, economic justice, right? The list goes on and on. Even healthcare, you can't find that in the Republican Party. It's all the opposite.
Right.
Right. They really want us gone.
Yeah.
Like immigration reform for them is immigration. Kick everybody out. Like we can't even get into that. It's too much. So we can't shoot ourselves in the foot because we're angry about some issues. We need to be active and advocate for those issues, and we need to put our money where our mouth is. Like we need to go and campaign for the issues that we care about. I think our communities don't really lobby. Yeah. Lobbying is an important tool. Even before I ran for office, I thought lobbying was like dirty business. It sounds dirty, right? Like, oh my God.
It sounds very dirty because then you think about, this person raised millions of dollars.
Yeah,
like,
they're bought out, right?
Yep.
They're bought out. But lobbying at like a local level or like a personal level or individual level or community level is different. Like the same word is used for like, people paying basically legal bribery, right? But this is different. It's like you going to your elected official and listing out the issues that you care about. Like there's Muslim Advocacy Day every year happens, and Muslim Day at the Capitol happens every year in DC. And it's amazing. You bring, we have a couple 100 Muslims come together. There's a training. This is how you do effective lobbying. Here's your list, your schedule to meet with your elected officials. Here's a list of priority bills that we want to talk about and want to advocate for. Like I remember last year it was like the watch list, which is egregiously targets Muslims. Mm-hmm. And like this is what lobbying really is. It's going to your elected official and telling them this is the issues that we care about, and this is what we need done about it. And sometimes, I hate to say it, guys, but sometimes these electeds don't know what's going on. Yeah. There's so much happening. They really listen to what whoever came to them that week or that month has told them. And that's what they know about that issue. So if my community never came to me about an issue, let's say another community never came to me about an issue, I likely would never hear about the issue. I wouldn't know what's going on.
I do agree that a lot of people, they'll either be solely focused on a single issue and just make the decision of who they're going to vote for on that single issue. If it's going to succeed, then if they see that promise in one party, they'll go for it. Yeah. And then the Democrats in general, I feel they tend to overpromise and underdeliver.
For sure.
Across the board. Not saying that that's what you did, but across the board, even if they believe in a policy, obviously there's rounds and rounds of approvals that you have to go through, whether it's at the state level or at the federal level. It's always
there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Exactly.
I think all politicians overpromise.
Yeah.
Like, we wish we're gonna get it done, but no one says the wish part. We're gonna get it done.
Yeah, they say we're gonna, and then they get into office, and
they might in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean they might, but you have to at this point, and I'm sure you're seeing this with Ohio, is that you have to look at the people, whether they're Democrat, whether they're Republican, whether they're independent, who they are, and are they on the right side of history on XYZ issue, right? So I'm sure in your experience with, I know there's several bills that have been blasting on your social media, vote on XYZ bill, vote yes, or push your representative to vote yes. What are some examples of those bills that have, passed the Ohio state floor, or that have been passed, some that haven't been passed because they didn't get enough votes? Do you have some examples of bills?
We've got a lot of bad ones that have been passed this year. Well, first of all, I think we're considered the least effective GA this year. Oh. It's really nice, right? There was a bill that I was really passionate about, SB 83, and that was like a higher ed, they called it Enhancement Act, or Higher Ed Destruction Act, really. And it would basically limit, pretty much destroy DEI offices, make it so that universities cannot talk about controversial subjects, and the controversial subjects in question are guns, marriage, climate justice. I think they had systemic racism within there as well. Basic things that you should be talking about, right? Like if something happened, the university will not be able to talk about it. Made it so that they, would have to create a curriculum for intellectual diversity, right? So those things. Made it so that it's called staff can collectively bargain. I think we took that part out. And it was just a whole list of things that was just really bad for universities and making it so the universities cannot even question a professor on if they had really dangerous ideologies. Like there's no ideological limits, so you can't talk about their ideology. Don't matter.
And let me guess, those ideologies aren't even that dangerous. It's just
it's like you can ask one if your professor is like a Nazi, you can't find out about that. You can't ask him. It's illegal now. That's because of that bill. Like the bill hasn't fully passed yet, but that's what that bill says. Like you cannot actually dive into those.
I'm sure the Republicans that were pushing for that, they were probably more concerned with the other side.
Yeah, they're saying, well, we're being,
anti-woke.
Anti-woke, like we're being sifted through. Like they're not hiring conservative professors and they're not doing this. And it was crazy because the bill had over 700, I think, opponent testimonies. It was a record number of opponent testimonies, and it was a range of people. We had conservative professors coming in saying, "You're stifling our voices," because now the students, there was like a portion in there as well about students evaluating professors, and they could pretty much grade the professor on like, oh, I said this opinion, and the professor didn't make that space open for me. Like I was saying some crazy things, like, but he should let me say it, and the professors would be pretty much stifled, right, in the name of free speech, but not really. And so we had conservative professors coming in. We had libertarian professors come in. We had liberal professors. Everyone pretty much came and testified against it. And then the proponent side was literally the same type of people.
It's always, we care about free speech and people should be able to say what they want to say until they say something that they don't want. And I think as much as the Republicans say, oh, the left is obsessed with being woke, I think they're more obsessed with it, if anything, that they just say, oh, look at these people with their rainbow hair and whatever stereotypes they'll try to paint.
Like the craziest little things, and then they would twist the argument, because we had in the proponent testimonies, they came in and talked about, students they don't have free speech in colleges, and this bill will fix that. And then they started coming in the second round. They were like, you see what's happening on campuses? All this anti-Semitism, all this protesting. This shouldn't be happening. So where's this free speech, right? Yeah, sure. The hate should never happen on campus. But they're talking about students literally just going outside and protesting.
Right.
For them, that was too far. That doesn't count as free speech. They can't go outside and talk. And so it was like, it wasn't adding up. But then they were coming in with the organizations that were literally promoting the things that they're talking about.
Right.
And when you point out those things, obviously they don't exist, right? The hypocrisy does not exist. And so that bill passed through committee after us fighting it for almost a year. There was a lot of interesting, a lot of bills that people have been pushing and coming in saying, don't pass these bills. There was a bill that passed to stop the people from organizing a ballot initiative for reproductive rights. And so what happened is they did a poll and they realized like they would probably get about 6% of the votes. And so the GA brought out a bill that would make it so that the threshold to pass ballot initiatives would go up to 60%. It would be 60%, and then petition gathering would have to be gathered from every county, not half.
Wow.
So
they can just do that?
They not even sneaky at all, right? Like just blatantly corrupt. They're like, we're changing it, we're moving the goalposts, basically. And they passed it. They passed it, but they passed it only as a ballot initiative itself. And they passed it in August election, which they made illegal the year before. They tried to make it illegal. They had a bill that said August election should be illegal because they waste money and they have low turnout. So what does that say when they put it into August election? They wanted to have a low turnout. Right. People really came out for that bill. They're like, this is so corrupt. Like, I think it really opened the eyes of people. And that August 8th election was insane. Like, people really came out like almost like a presidential election. And they overwhelmingly voted no on that issue. And so that they could continue to vote on the November issue, the reproductive rights issue. So we voted no on the 60% threshold. And of course, they sneakily made it the same name. So now it's vote yes on the same issue. Issue one.